Hello, everyone, and welcome to the lunch table. I'm your host, Ben Houselog, aka Ben Like Sports, and we got a lot to get into, man. Last night, Bengals beat the Cowboys. We have a first ever follower/listener Q&A, and we have a big time Thursday night football matchup with possible playoff implications. We got a lot to get into, but before that, you know we have to roll the intro. Shannon Sharp, take it away.
Yams, collard greens, mac and cheese.
Starting off with Monday Night Football. We all know what happened. Bengals ended up beating the Cowboys 27-20. And it was, like we all thought it would be, a Jamarr Chase legacy game. He went for 191 yards and 2 touchdowns. And the Cowboys now are officially eliminated from the playoffs. The Bengals basically are, but you never know. There could be a ton of stuff that happens, but right now it looks like the AFC is pretty locked up in that regard. And everyone's going to have theories about what led to the Cowboys' destruction this year. You could say, oh, it was CeeDee Lamb. His extension was too much. You could say, oh my gosh, Dak Prescott got hurt. By the way, if you think it's CeeDee Lamb, learn ball. Dak Prescott got hurt. You had a lot of injuries on the defensive side of the ball. Really, what this all came down to is the entire Cowboys' demise was because of one man and one man only. It was Jerry Jones. That is the only possible thing that I will accept as an answer. Jerry Jones not only got his defensive coordinator poached with Dan Quinn going to the Commanders, not only after getting blown out at home by a first-year quarterback in Jordan Love, first-year starting that is, getting his chain snatched at home, literally a beatdown, 40-something points before it was so bad, the Packers called off the dogs. And you said, you know what? We're going to change something in free agency. Ezekiel Elliott, you're a Cowboy. What are we doing here, man? Your defensive coordinator got poached, took a lot of the guys with him, a good defense that you had last year. And you completely wasted the best years of your O-line, and you're wasting the career right now of Micah Parsons. He's probably gone. If I'm Micah Parsons, off-season trade. And if I'm the Cowboys, I'm thinking it might be time to retool. I understand you just signed CeeDee. You just signed Dak. You got to start looking towards the future now. As much as it sucks, Jerry Jones has too many irons in the fire, in my opinion. Owner, GM, yeah, all that stuff was cute in the 90s. Football's a lot different than it is in the 90s. There's a lot more stuff going down. There's a lot more talent on the field. Sue me if I said that. That's exactly what I believe. There is so much more just going around in the league that Jerry Jones just doesn't do it. He didn't sign a single free agent, and then he said, you know what? We're going to make some trades at the trade deadline. Traded a 4th rounder for Jonathan Mingo, who barely plays. A 4th rounder that could have been used in the rebuild. You got to swallow the pride, and it's like a company that gets too big. Sometimes you got to take a poison pill. Level everything out. On the Bengals side of things, I think no matter what happens, if you win out and miss the playoffs, you have to let Zach Taylor go. You had your shot. You went to the Super Bowl. Didn't work out. This year, Joe Burrow's having an MVP-level season, and Jamarr Chase having an Offensive Player of the Year-level season. And despite that, you're still going to miss the playoffs. You can't really defend that as a head coach. You knew that the defense would be suspect coming into the season, and nothing changed. You have Trey Hendrickson, who I think still leads the league in sacks, and you're still losing. There's an obvious disconnect here. If you have all these good players, a kicker that struggled, yeah, but looks like kicking has kind of gotten better, it falls on the head coach. I thought Zach Taylor should have been gone after the first freaking Baltimore game, where he just settled for it and said, hey, we have a kicker, let's try a 50-something yarder. I think Zach Taylor needs to go. If I'm being brutally honest, which, as you guys know, I have no problem being, I think Zach Taylor needs to go. But with that being said, it is time to go into our first ever Q&A. I got asked a couple questions, and you know what? I put a lot of thought into my responses. I'm going to answer 3 questions. Maybe 2, because I have a very long answer for both of these. The first question that was asked was, if you had 30 minutes, if you had 30 minutes to eat 30 chicken tenders, do you think you could do it, and what would be the strategy? All right, let me tell you something here. First of all, Thank you for listening. I thank you for the question. That would be so easy. I'm taking down every single tender in 10 minutes, and I'm digesting it while watching Tavon Austin highlights on repeat for the last 20. I don't even need sauce. I'm a chicken tender fanatic. I will rip down every single chicken tender. If you put all of that right in front of me, it's going in. That sounded bad, but you guys get what I'm saying. It doesn't matter. It could be Cane's chicken tenders, Chick-fil-A chicken. I can't stop stuttering. Chick-fil-A chicken tenders. Say that 7 times fast. I'm there. I'm there, dude. Growing up in Iowa, man, a picky eater like I was for a little bit. I go to a restaurant. I'll have chicken tenders, please. Thank you. This is an easy strategy for me. The strategy is I'm just going to eat until I can't eat anymore, which 30 chicken tenders, while it is a lot, the strategy is just don't give yourself enough time to think about it to where you're full. It's just like when I got into college, I was 165 pounds soaking wet, and I had to get up to 205 pounds. That's 40 pounds. So what did I do? I was in the cafeteria just shoving my face with food. I was in my dorm just shoving my face with food. Protein shakes, water, shakes, not like protein shakes, vanilla shakes, chocolate shakes, anything I could get to get a little bit of not even mass, just fat, whatever on me, I would do it. 30 chicken tenders is nothing to me, especially with 30 minutes. I'm emoting between each tender. I'm licking my fingers like I'm in a cartoon. I'm going to smell the chicken tenders and float. I'm going to smell it like a pie. I'm going to float in and eat all the chicken tenders. It's really simple. But I appreciate the question. So that is exactly my strategy. I'll just eat. And the next one, this is going to be a longer answer. If you were to rebuild an NFL franchise, how would you do it? So for this question, I'm assuming, let's just say I get an extension franchise or rebuild, whatever. Say that I take over the Cowboys, right? I'm going to go in under the assumption that there's not really any star players and I need to rebuild it from the ground up. The first thing I'm doing is I'm finding a good coach, obviously, but I'm not doing the usual thing where I sign him to a 4-year deal. I'm signing the coach to a 6-year deal. Those extra 2 years makes all the difference. If you look at Dave Canales and the Panthers, before that, they had Frank Reich and I forgot who it was. I forgot. Okay, I'll just be honest. But they kind of had them on a timer. Oh, you're not doing good? You're fired. You're not doing good? You're fired. That's not how you can get a rebuild done. So I'm signing a coach to a 6-year deal, and I'm letting the coach pick his staff. Who do you think is good? After that, a lot of people are probably going to go for a franchise quarterback or a great running back or a big-time DB. I'm going to focus on the offensive and defensive line. The first thing is, it isn't as expensive. So that if you do kind of open up the ability to get a franchise guy, you have the money to. And if you don't, then guess what? You still have a good enough team. O-line and D-line are great elevators. Right? If you have a mid running back, but you put him behind a great offensive line, he turns into a good running back. Now, if you have a good running back, put him behind a good offensive line, he turns into a great running back. Same thing on the D-line. If you have a good D-line, it takes the run game basically out of the equation. Because if you can, that's the thing about football. You can play to your strengths. You have a good D-line, guess what? I have no problem running a 5-3. No problem running a 5-3. I'll run a 5-3-3 all day. I'll run a 4-3. I'll even run a 3-4 with a D lineman drop back if that's what I need to do. The next thing I'm doing, now that I have a good offensive and a defensive line, is I'm getting a good punter. Because I know a lot of people are probably going to be like, you probably don't want to win games early and rebuild the tank. We don't do that around here. We're building up the culture. A 6-year coach, good offensive and defensive line. We're getting a good punter then. Guess what? If we have to punt, I'd like it if we would have to make the other team drive 80, 90 yards every single time against a good defensive line. It's going to wear them out. It's going to work. Then, after all that, I'm going to sign free agents, and I'm going to end up building through the draft. free agent quarterback, like a bridge quarterback, say that, like, okay, Baker Mayfield, a guy like Baker Mayfield, a guy like Sam Darnold, a guy like Jameis Winston comes available. Look, man, you can come in here. You have the arm talent, but now you're behind a good offensive line that can protect you. You have a defensive line that's going to rush the passer and get the ball away. Oh, hey, a linebacker that's kind of been disrespected a little bit? Okay, come on over. Come on over. Then you can have more time. The good O-line, the good D-line, and the good coach means that you can also help people progress and get better and develop. That's what it is all about. You get guys and you let them develop. If you put a 4th-round quarterback who isn't very good behind an NFL offensive line that's really good, he'll be fine. There's a reason that all these guys are drafted, because they have NFL caliber arms. Do you know how many quarterbacks enter the NFL draft every single year? Why do you think that we see quarterbacks like Brock Purdy and Dak Prescott running around making plays, even though they were late-round picks? Tom Brady was a late-round pick. They don't have the most special arm of all time. They don't run over anybody. They don't run around anybody. But what do? They understand the plays because they have good coaches, or Brock Purdy has a good coach, and then they execute. They have time behind the offensive line, which the Cowboys and 49ers offensive lines, historically, through their tenures as quarterbacks, have been good, and they elevate everyone around them. You didn't really see a lot of people leaving Dallas. A lot of running backs that left Dallas never really became the same. DeMarco Murray, Ezekiel Elliott. Sure, you could argue their primes were wasted in Dallas. But I'm saying, you get a good O-line, good D-line, you're set. Then you sign in free agents, build through the draft, and we hit the ground running. That is exactly what I would do. And this is going to be a little bit shorter of an episode because it's a Wednesday. All right? I put out a form for people to fill out questions. I didn't get a lot of questions. I'm not going to lie. But it's okay. The next question is, who is the biggest NFL player? I don't know why I'm stuttering so much. That's on me. That I could take in a fight. So we got to go through the list, right? O-line, D-line, I'm getting the crap beat out of me. I'm 6'1", like 185. Okay? O-line, D-line, linebackers, fullbacks, tight ends, no go. Corners, even like Emmanuel Forbes would probably rock me. I mean, they're in the NFL. So my mind immediately goes to quarterbacks. Who's an old quarterback? Well, the thing is, NFL quarterbacks are like 6'4" and 220 pounds and tough. I am not 6'4". I am not 220 pounds. I am not tough. Not going there either. So then you think, okay, maybe safeties? Definitely not safeties. So everyone says, you know what? What about a punter? I don't think I could take a punter, man. Punters are tall. Punters are tall. So we all know the smallest player on the football field is always going to be the kicker. So what does that mean? You go through the lines of kickers in the league, and everyone's probably thinking, Ben, you know what? You're 22, even though I'm already past my athletic prime at 22. You could probably take a kicker in a fight. But you guys fail to recognize the weapon of a leg that they have. Right now, obviously, Justin Tucker is 35 years old. He's 6'1". I probably weigh more than him, right? I'm probably more athletic than him. I'm probably stronger than him. But if his right leg connects to my nuts, I think I might vaporize in thin air. I don't think I'm recovering from that. His right leg even brushes my hair. I think I'm exploding. It's Oppenheimer 2. Like, it's not working. I'm not going to be one of those guys who lies and says, oh, I could take an NFL player. I can't. I understand what it takes to get the NFL. Look, I talk a lot, but I'm honest. I don't think I can beat any NFL player in a fight. I can't. So I know that's not the exact answer that you were going for, but yeah, man, I just don't think I can do that. And now moving on to Thursday Night Football, you have the Rams and the 49ers, and this is a massive matchup. One, because both these teams are still in the hunt for the playoffs, and two, the Seahawks are playing the Packers later this week, and the Seahawks are currently leading the NFC West division. They are up on the Rams by 1 game and up on the Cardinals and the 49ers by 2 games. Whoever wins this game could have the possibility of getting a game back on the Seahawks. If the Rams win, they can then be tied up with the Seahawks. And also, the final game of their season is against the Seahawks. That would be huge. But we know the 49ers, they split the season with the Seahawks. 49ers basically need to win out. Or maybe, just maybe, can afford to lose one more. The thing is, the 49ers are on their 4th string running back. McCaffrey, Mason, Garendo, all hurt. Brandon Ayuk is hurt. Juwan Jennings is looking better, and Deebo Samuel has been struggling. He posted a tweet saying that he's not struggling, and it got community noted and says that he leads the league in drops, which that is exactly the worst possible thing that can happen if you tweet out that you're not struggling. That AI even calls you out. That is crazy. For the Rams, they just came off a massive, massive win against the Bills. 44-42. You outshot Josh Allen. Dude, I actually might need to meditate before I do this because I get to freaking talking about sports and my mind just starts crossing wires, man. But the Rams, Puka Nacua, Kyron Williams, Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford, then they also have Ernest Jones on the defensive side of the ball, flying around, making differences, making plays. I want the 49ers to win this. I genuinely do. Because if the 49ers beat the Rams and the Packers beat the Seahawks, I believe they clinch the playoff spot, which would be very nice to see. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think the Rams win this. I think that Sean McVay is the perfect coach to have in this situation for the Rams. Because the Rams have been here before. They've barely snuck into the playoffs before. So give me the Rams to beat the 49ers. And if I'm thinking of a player who's going to have a big game, I think that this is a Blake Corum legacy game. I know a lot of people talk about Kyron Williams, but Blake Corum, rookie out of Michigan, had a huge season last year for the Wolverines, led them to the national championship. I think that Blake Corum is going to kind of burst out a little bit more. He has been getting a lot of carries. I've noticed that. And he does a lot with his carries. 1, because the Rams offensive line is getting healthier. 2, because Sean McVay is a very smart play caller. And 3, because Blake Corum is a good player. And I don't think that the Rams or the 49ers, my goodness, I don't think the 49ers are capable, with all the injuries they've had, with all the injuries that players have that are playing, like Fred Warner. They're missing too many people on defense. Bosa, Hufanga, both of them are out. I think that the Rams end up going into San Fran and ending the 49ers' playoff hopes. And that's all I have for you guys. You know, last one was a 42-minute pod. This one, only 18 minutes, man. I don't really have much else to say. Thank you guys for watching. We've actually had an influx of listeners because I made that TikTok Clips channel. That might be the meta. So it's called Lunch Table Sports Pod, I think, on TikTok. If it isn't, I hope you guys find it. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day or night whenever you are listening to this. And most importantly, God bless. Jesus loves you. Peace.